Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Bits and Bob's Back Shop. This episode unfortunately is not going to be part 2 of the GS4 Daylight. During programming and stuff like that, it came immediately apparent to me that I didn't have enough light outputs, okay? So I contacted my friend. I let him know we need an actual light decoder that has 6 outputs, because we're going to be running the number boards independent of the headlight, and then we have the Mars light, we have firebox glow, and then inspection and cab lights. So we need roughly 5 outputs, and the decoder he gave me only had basically 2. So we're kind of in a holding pattern until the new decoder comes in. In fact, if you look up here, the parts for that locomotive are still there that I took off of the original light board in the steam engine, and then I still have my little schematic over here with some bits of wire and stuff like that. So, but in the meantime, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this revived. This doesn't really run right now. If you'd like to see how it runs, let me know in its current condition. I mean, you can look at it. It's pretty grody. So, yeah. We're gonna get into this guy. We're gonna go ahead, strip it down, clean it. The paint is taking some hits here on the roof, and if you look closely at the masking, it doesn't look, it actually looks as though somebody may have painted this rather than having it factory painted. But we're gonna go ahead and pull this apart, and I don't know, I have Tamiya aluminum, which would match what the roof color is, or most of these I've seen actually had like a darker gray roof, and this cap color really doesn't designate exactly how dark it is. It's about 2 shades lighter than that, so I think that might be more prototypical, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it all washes off. Let's see how the body comes out. She's pretty grody. Handrails are all bent up. Everything's just really in rough shape. So, especially the mechanics. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's start by removing the handrails. Okay. Put them off to the side along with the screws. We'll see how it cleans up. She comes out pretty nice. I might end up touching up some of the wore off white. I mean, overall the paint looks okay. It's just really dirty. Doesn't seem like many people have seen the first part of the GS4 Daylight. I know I told you this channel is going to be primarily European, and it seems like for whatever reason the European videos are doing much better than the GS4. So if you know anybody who has an N-scale Kato GS4 and would like to go about doing some of the conversion and updates I've done to that locomotive when it's all said and finished, you know, bleep bloop it down there in the comments section and let me know. I can let you know parts list and whatnot like that. But let's keep going with this guy. Now, I've never taken one of these apart, and I'm thinking, I don't know, do I have to pull the buffers out? Do the buffers unscrew? Do they pull? I mean, it rotates. So that's half the battle. But yeah, she's really bad. Look at these wheels. These wheels are horrible. But let me figure out how to get into this. I don't want to waste y'all's time. Alright, we're back. That was pretty quick. Yes, I was right. The buffers do unscrew, and I already have one side of this released. So I use a pair of blind jawed long nose pliers so you don't scratch the buffers. And of course this one's going to be a booger now. There we go. And then the whole end falls apart. And now this should get released. And here we go. Wow, this thing is just loaded with weight. That's a good thing. It should be a decent puller. There's a screw down here in the center. I don't know if you can see that. So let's remove that weight, kind of clean this up, make it a little easier to work on. Oh, wow, that's a long screw. There we go. Okay, that's not coming out. So we have front pilot, cow catcher, front railings, couplers, front railings. We're going to get this all straightened out too. And then the 4 buffers. So I have 2 lights on this end and no lights on this end. So that would definitely explain why I only had lights on one end when it did run. So, okay. Let me get the soldering iron. And, wow, this won't be DCC compatible, actually. That's really a shame. Because it looks as though this brush holder is connected to the backing plate here, which is probably the common side of the chassis. And these guys, as you'll probably hopefully be able to see, is they're just push-on caps. Okay, so hopefully we can get our little fingers up under there. Might need a little help. Okay, there we go. So there's one, Here's a brush cap. Spring, and the brush should be attached. Oh yeah. Well, going off of the look of this brush, it is very wet with motor oil. So, okay. Let's get the other one off. Oh, that one stayed behind. Great. Let's get the soldering iron hooked up. Get a little water for the soldering station. Keep my tip clean. If you're gonna comment, I'd like to know if you guys, what you guys are working on. Anything in particular, you know, got any projects going on? It'd be pretty cool, you know. And we're up to temp. I want to unsolder this guy. Okay. And then I want to remove this guy so I don't have to fight it when I try and get the brush plate off. So go. Let's remove the brush plate so we can get our brush back. Come on, you little booger. Let's go. There we go. Alrighty then. Oh wow. Look at the oil in there. It's just soaked. That's why that brush, it's probably the reason why this motor wasn't running very well. Brushes weren't making very good contact with the armature. Armature isn't burnt, but let's do a quick continuity check and make sure we're not working with a open winding. The way you do it, and you may have seen me do this in a past video, but if not, for all the new guys, this is a 3-pole motor. You have 1 plate, 2 plate, and 3 plate. And between each one of these 2 plates is a winding. So what we want to do, let's get the meter more in view here. Yep, that looks good. Yep, that looks good. Okay. Yep. We're all good. Good motor. Good deal. Now, in order to really clean this properly, I would have to pull these wheels off. You know, I'm probably not going to be doing that. Look at that. There's some scenery material in here. Looks like some lichen, whatever you want to call it. But I think at this point, we're just going to go dunk this entire mass right in there into the mineral spirits. I'm also probably not going to be pulling that pinion, just for the mere fact these are known to loosen up over a period of time. And if I can get this all clean without having to mess with that, then that's just going to make our job a little bit easier in the end. So let's go put this in some mineral spirits. I'm gonna go ahead and give this guy a bath along with all of its other parts. All right, guys. Gonna end up speeding this up, but I'm gonna show you how I clean this one last time. And actually, I think that's half the fun. But we're gonna get this cleaned up. I'm gonna clean the chassis while the body is drying, and play some music. Okay, we can see just how dirty that locomotive chassis was. So we did good. The body's drying. We're gonna do some touch up on the body. Okay, here's the body. So The antique white I was talking about is the pinstripe. The little ledge here, it's a little faded. My concern is if I can't match the paint color exactly, then it's gonna kind of look off. I don't know. I'm still thinking. Maybe I'll mix up a little bit of this maroon color and just fill in some of these chips here and there. Outside of that, I think once the roof is redone, because even like the edges of the roof are not, they're not right. There's no paint there. I don't know. I'm still thinking about maybe doing a black wash into the radiator grills here to kind of bring out some of the depth, even on the front. But overall, I'm pretty impressed on how this body came out. It was really bad before. You can see like there's some paint damage here. The paint looks good, but what we're gonna do is do our pledge trick, and that'll make this paint pop. And here are the front handrail. That came out nice. We still need to straighten that out. We're going to probably put this in a vise and clamp it down. And then here's the other handrail. Again, she's been bent up. So we're going to let all this dry and see what it looks like in the morning, especially the mechanics. I'd be honest with you, I didn't even know these gears were a natural nylon color. They were so dirty. So this is all going to work out well. And then I'll see if I can mix up some maroon that matches really close, get that all touched up here and there in little spots. And then maybe I can try and mix up to the best of my ability just a little bit here and here. I mean, I'm being super picky, but overall this came out very well, and I'm excited to see how the finished project comes out. All right guys, we are back. Everything's cleaned up. We got the wheel treads cleaned. You'll notice now, if you're pretty observant, I also painted the wheel centers and the tires, the edge of the tires on both sides. So we're going to clean the treads again. These are looking much better, but we're going to clean the treads. I made a circuit board for the LEDs. We removed the standard light bulbs. And I made some custom LEDs right here with some wires. There's a little bit of Kapton high temperature, high abrasion resistance tape so that we can fit them back into the factory openings here like so. And I'm going to show you how I make these LEDs because I have one left and I figured it'd be something interesting to show you. Now I know it hasn't come out yet, but I made this circuit board the same way as I made the circuit board for the Kato GS4 Daylight. That video should be coming out very soon. I'll be finishing that probably on Monday. Today is Saturday evening. So let's start off by cleaning the wheels, and then I told y'all I was going to show you how I touch up the window frames. And actually, I wonder if I could, this body, I think, just pops off. If not, then we'll just leave it as is. But if, yeah, I am not seeing any clear way of getting this cab off. It would have been cool because we've got some window frames here, so I figured if I had the pen out I could do all of them, but oh well, we'll let her be. But this body came out exceptionally well, so we'll set this off to the side. In order to clean the wheels, I use my rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip. So okay, now if you guys are interested in touching up the wheels such as I did, a perfect color is Tamiya's XF7 Red. This does a great job. One last and final thing I want to do on this chassis is get rid of this button. And to do that, there is a clip in there. There's a clip that sits right here. So see if I can get in there and get it off. There we go. So I'm going to set this off to the side temporarily, because now I want to show you my trick for touching up these windows. So I use a Sharpie, silver, ever so carefully run it around. Like so. Let's get the other side. And there we are. Okay, now the motor magnet installed. Let's get our brush plate reinstalled. Slots right into place. And then we have our 3 screws. Tighten this down. That's a good noise. There's no oil. So everything seems to be working really well. It's moving smooth. Let's give her a little taste of oil. Now again, just like with most all motors, I prefer to use 80-90 gear weight oil. Just because if you remember when we took this apart originally, the commutator was just full of oil. The brushes were just full of oil. And that could be brought up for 2 reasons. One, A, is over oiling. And B, using too light of an oil. I like the stuff that likes to cling and stay put. There we go. Let's get a little bit more there. A little bit too much. But now that noise should go away. There we go. Now I'm going to put a drop of oil on the intermediates here. Let that work up underneath it. Let me grab a Q-tip just to keep the mess to a minimum. We don't need this much. Okay. Now, last and final thing. Let's put a little bit of grease here. A little bit of grease here. A little bit of grease here. And then we'll put some here. A little bit more here. Just a taste. Just a touch. And then one last and final thing is I want to get the bearings for the axles. And this I'll get from the inside here and the inside there. here. Go here. There. And there. Wipe up any extra. Moved around. And then what I'll do here is change over to a little bit of lightweight oil. And we're going to give just a taste to these side rods. Keep them nice and happy. And last and final, we've got a couple of shafts that could use a little bit, and that is for the counterweights. This wire went over like so to here. And now, while the marker's drying, and we're basically done with the chassis at this point, I'll show you how I solder up my LEDs. I'll take a bit of blue or yellow masking tape. We'll see. We'll see how this works. You can tell it's a salvaged LED because of the circuit board that's still attached to the tabs. So what I'm going to do first is clean that off with a little bit of solder. There we go. You don't want to use too much heat because that'll end up damaging the LED. These are just little surface mount guys. There we go. Let me reposition it. So now I have a set of wires. Are these them? Yes. So I'm using green for my positive and brown for my negative. So the positive is towards me. And what I'm going to do, let's do the brown first because it's up higher. I won't have to worry about getting in my own way. Soldering the brown wire on. So what I'll do is I'll take a little bit of my solder. And then just tack solder it. You don't need to spend a whole day on the solder tab because again, you could damage the LED. It's easy to do. I've done it. And now we should have a functioning LED with wires. And we could check that out. Now the three of you that are still paying attention are probably wondering, why did I put Kapton tape in here on these guys? Well, currently these leads are not protected that we just soldered. And this chassis sits at a voltage potential depending upon which direction the locomotive is headed, because the chassis is connected to one set of drivers. So if we just stuck this right into the hole, the chances are we'll blow out the LED. So it's important we insulate the LED from the locomotive chassis. And going with the green is hot and the brown is negative, if we were successful, the LED should light. I can't tell if it is or it isn't. Let's see here. Let's try it again. All right. I don't know if you could pick that up. So we are lighting up. So we got a good LED. We did good. Now the last and final thing we're going to need to do is cut a piece of Kapton tape. Excuse me. And wrap it around the LED very carefully. It's actually been a couple of days since I left you. Work has been a bear. Very busy. And I've come home pretty tired, and I wanted to make sure that I had enough energy to make sure we get everything done correctly here. And get it started. And then just gently wrap it around the LED. And then that's that. That is our finished modified surface mount LED. So we can get rid of this. And now we get to install them into the chassis. So I'm going to raise you guys back up slightly. Let me see if I can go the other way. It may go easier. Like I said, it's a pretty tight fit. So once they're in there, I'm not concerned about them going anywhere. But I would like them all to land the same direction. That'd be pretty nice. That looks pretty good. I'm just gonna touch it. Hopefully we got enough here. I need more. There we go. Just a little bit. And we'll hit it with the light. That's good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest, and I'll catch you in a minute. All right, we're on to the very final parts of assembly. What I'm gonna do is I use 36 gauge copper wire as wire ties. And it's pretty simple. I mean, I could have used heat shrink tubing, but honestly, the thought of dealing with all these wires and then trying to fit them through the heat shrink tubing, and it just seemed like it was going to be more hassle than it was worth. But I'll just make sure we get all of them. And it doesn't have to be fancy. I just go around once and then twist it again, and then I'll cut it off. And then I can kind of move it where I want. That's actually kind of close to what I want right there. And then we'll put another one here, right here, clean that up. So I'll just snip another little bit off. Perfect. Very nice and neat. And now we have directional LEDs. They're gonna be brighter, they're gonna look better. And I can't wait to get this on the test track and see how she runs. All right. Now, okay. All right. There she is. All nice and clean. All ready to go to earn some revenue on the layout. Interesting note, I also have another one from Rocco. And here's the difference. This one looks ever so slightly smaller than this guy. And I don't have all of the railings or whatnot on this one, but it's just interesting to see two of the same V60 models from two different manufacturers. We're going to end up doing something really cool and special to this one later on in a different episode, because this has, yeah, you can see the individual individual lights, but this model is not lit whatsoever. So that's going to be a cool episode. But I just thought y'all might find that interesting. Do a little comparison. I am quite impressed with the heft of this little model. The body is die cast, the cab is plastic, but as we all seen, there's a big lead weight on the inside, and then the whole chassis is die cast metal. So this is ready for another 30 years of running, and the next time you see her, she'll be pulling a train